Hello, I am Seth and I am making a video today about Rust. It's probably my new favorite programming language. Well, probably it is. Here I am, we're on the Rust website. I've zoomed in so that you should be able to see it pretty well. The line here, Rust is a systems programming language that runs blazingly fast, prevents seg faults, and guarantees thread safety. What they mean by a systems programming language is just that it can be used to write an operating system. It's low enough level you can get down to the hardware level, just like you can with C or C++. It also has other things that are really nice about it. So here down here we're going with the featuring section, you see. We zero cost abstractions, blah 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 blah. You can read. I'm not going to read for you. But the ones I want to point out specifically, guaranteed memory safety. If in C++ or C, if you're familiar with that, when you allocate memory or like create an object, you are expected to manage that yourself. You have to wipe your own butt, just to be frank. Anyway. In Rust, if it compiles, then then you know that you are taking care of the memory and you are cleaning it up after yourself. It does that through I think the move semantics is what they're calling it, but it's a system that called ownership. A particular scope of code owns a variable. Anyway, you can read about that on your own. One thing that I like about the website and the documentation itself are these boxes here. You can edit and play with the code in the examples and run it in your browser, so you don't even have to install it. Though if you do install it, you can, compile it and stuff yourself. My computer die? Or the interwebs die? Hold on, refresh the page. Yep, internet died. Somebody touched. Hold on a second. Okay. Alright, we're back up. So yeah, you can run the code in browser. It sends it to a server, runs it, gets your output. And here's a good example of the pattern matching here. You can put in a kind of pattern, and if you want, you can even, for your number, you can say, okay, instead I want 0 through 5. Do this. Let's get rid of 5. Okay. Obviously I know this language really well. Moving on. So, yeah, that's what I like. Another thing about Rust is its ecosystem. It comes with this package manager. So if you come from JavaScript, you're probably familiar with NPM, if you're doing modern JavaScript anyway, which is the Node package manager. Cargo is like that, but it's for Rust. They have, instead of calling them packages, they call them crates. Here, this one particularly is what this does. This crate here, which crates can do lots of fun things. This one is specifically for C interoperability, so you can put your language, you can put your Rust code in projects that are already using C and things like that. And this package is well maintained, blah, 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 blah. Cargo also has packages that you can install tools onto your machine with. Probably the one that is used everywhere is Racer, which is for code auto-completion. It's used in lots of editors and things like that. Here, this is the website you go to, or you can also go into at rust-lang.org, which is this first site we're at. You can click on install, but it'll just point you to this, which is rustup.rs. Rustup is how you set up the Rust toolchain on your computer. It has lots of really nice features, like you can install other tool chains, not just for your architecture. So for example, you're on a Linux machine and you want to compile for Windows. You can download the Windows toolchain and install and build your code for both Linux and Windows, and it'll run on both. It also has other toolchains such as WebAssembly. You can set up the WebAssembly toolchain and build code directly to run in your browser, which is probably my favorite feature. Then, anyway, so the few things I want to show you here. The Rust documentation. This is just, again, on rustlang.org. Click on the documentation, it brings you here. The ones that you will want to go to first, even if you are an experienced programmer, is the Rust programming language, or the book. In the book, there's 2 drafts. Let me show you that. The first edition, second edition. The second edition, as it says, is a complete rewrite. It's pretty well done, though, and they're recommending going to that, and you can. The interesting thing about this book, you can actually buy a physical copy somewhere. Don't know where. You can find it if you're interested. But it is actually a GitHub repository that is built into this book and all its drafts, so it's updated pretty regularly. It starts out with a game tutorial, blah 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 blah. Anyway, that's what you need to know for getting into Rust quickly, and probably why you should. Here is my terminal. I just wanted to show you a quick intro to Rust and its toolchain and stuff like that. So after you followed the instructions to get Rust on your computer, however that is, then you will need to go here. So as you would use npm to create a new project, for that we would use Cargo. By default, Cargo's new projects will be a library projects. But for our hello world, we'll just say new, and we'll call it sup world dog. Yeah. And then to make sure that they know we want an executable project, we give it the bin flag. Okay, we'll go in there. The way you interact with this, at least at this level with the Rust toolchain, is mostly through the command line tools. You can use whatever editor you like. In my case, I'm using a command line one, so I can just stay in this screen. But they do have a really nice plugin for Visual Studio Code. They have pretty decent support in Atom. There's a Visual Studio plugin, though I don't know why you'd want to use it. I might be against that. But if you are for it, good for you. So this is NeoVim. I'll show you the brief structure of this file, or the project directory. We have our cargo.toml. Toml is a language pretty similar to those old INI files with a few extra enhancements. And this is how you define your project. In here, in the dependencies, you can add other crates that you want to pull from crates.io into your project. Similar to how in your package.json in JavaScript you would go do it there. Oh wait, yeah, I saved. Right, and drop it. Another thing to note, when you initialize a Git this repository, your project, it actually creates a Git repository in it automatically. Whether you use it or not, it's there. Let's go and explore the main file it generates for you. This is your just the standard hello world. The function syntax is pretty terse. It seems to be pulling a lot of conventions from C, C++ in that way. This is not actually a method here. This is a macro print line, which I don't actually know how to explain what that is. As far as I can tell, a macro is like a more wonky function that you don't want to write the whole thing everywhere, and it's to shorten it. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments and teach me. I would love to learn. And I can only learn so fast when my day job is not working in Rust. Anyway, but this is the main function. So here I pulled up another tab. We're in our project still. Cargo has a couple features. You can do cargo check. Cargo check will build it, but without actually generating any code. It checks for syntactic correctness, and it's faster than doing a build. As you can see from here, we have the 42.42, 0.34. In this project, it doesn't make a difference because it's so small. For larger projects, it'll cut off a lot of time. Also, I'd like to point out here, by default, the Rust compiler does not optimize code. If you want a release build, you'll need to add the release flag, and then it will optimize it. Takes longer to build, but it will be optimized and it'll actually run faster. So if you're doing benchmarking, you want to make sure that you use the released version of the code. Anyway, then the next thing, cargo run. And you can, again, if you want to run the release, you can pass in the release flag because the run will build it. If you don't, just run. Anyway, that's gonna do it for my video today. If you want some information, or please ask a question in the comments. I'm really willing to answer. That doesn't mean I'm good. The other place that you can probably go is here in the let's see, yes, here. So the not Rust Learning, there's a forum that you can go to for it, and it's very user friendly. I haven't actually seen any flames in there at all. People seem to want people to actually get into the language, not be driven away from it. Anyway, that'll do it. Thank you, and hope you have a good, whatever time of day appropriate outro thing is for you. Bye.